join us on Radio Benue 2 FM stereo, Makudi transmitting at 95.0 megahertz on the frequency modulated band. Today, Saturday, it's the 15th day of the month of February 2025, and you're on to the program On the Line. It's a regular feature every Saturday from 9 to 10. It's an audience phone-in participatory program on your food basket station, otherwise the authentic voice of the people. Today, we have the pleasure to play host to the state coordinator of the Agro-Climatic Resilience in Semi-Arid Landscapes, otherwise known as ACReSAL, Mr. Victor Ama. Victor Ama, you're welcome to Radio Benue.
Thank you very much, Mr. Tiab. Thanks for having me.
I'm your anchor, Lupem Tiab. I said it's an audience phone-in participatory program. Once we get the program off the line and we're half-marked the program, we'll activate our phone lines for you to call in, ask questions, or seek for clarification on any issue that might be raised in the course of the conversation. The number to call is 070-3826-7479. And please, the rules remain the same. Once you call, please move away from the phone, move away from your radio set, or better still, turn down the volume knob of your radio set to avoid the hallback effect so that we can have a very smooth and clear conversation here. Once you break these ground rules, I have the singular authority to discontinue any conversation, and the language should be elegant. Language use should be elegant. Anything short of elegant expressions, we will discontinue the conversation once you call, and you are allowed 60 seconds to make your contributions. Our focus today is on the agroclimatic resilience in semi-arid landscapes and how it has impacted Benue communities. That is, the focus will be revolving our discussion on. Agroclimatic resilience in semi-arid landscapes is a World Bank financed project designed to tackle the pressing issues of land degradation and climate change in 19 states of northern Nigeria and the Federal Capital Territory. It is meant to increase the implementation of sustainable landscape management practices, which comprises of 4 components, and that's why we are focusing our discourse on ACReSAL this morning. Thank you very much, Mr. Victor Ama, for finding time to explain to us what ACReSAL is all about and how it is impacting Benue communities and the sustainability plan that will be put in place so that long after you must have left ACReSAL, the projects and activities will still continue. Yes, as I said in my opening remarks, it's a World Bank sponsored project to cover 19 states of northern Nigeria. What brought about this idea of ACReSAL, and why is World Bank so interested in the activities happening in these northern states and Benue inclusive?
Thank you very much, Mr. Tiab, and thank you, my listeners out there. Yes, the project ACReSAL was conceived after a project that was called NUMAP. NUMAP was a project that was put together by the World Bank for the whole of Nigeria, and after the implementation of that project, the World Bank and the government of Nigeria felt it was important for them to bring up or come up with ACReSAL to tackle the challenges of climate change, especially in the northern part of the country. And then they put together this project, and we are here today to implement the project ACReSAL. Basically, you have talked about ACReSAL as if you're one of us. You've told us what the PD of ACReSAL is, what ACReSAL is all about, and all that. Perfect. That is what ACReSAL is all about. To restore the degraded lands of the northern Nigeria, in the northern Nigeria. So basically, that was the concept, and that was the reason for bringing on board ACReSAL. Thank you.
So NUMAP, what were the gaps in NUMAP that brought ACReSAL on board?
Okay, so the NUMAP project focused on reclamation, just reclamation of lands, tackling of some climate challenges, reclamation, and when I say reclamation, I mean gully erosion sites and all that. It was basically about that, which is one of the components of the project we still do, but not on a large scale. ACReSAL was put together to look at the states, the arid states, the semi-arid states of the country, and tackle their peculiar challenges. That is why we have only 20 states participating in the project ACReSAL. Now, what ACReSAL aims to do is to restore the degraded lands of the northern Nigeria. And of course, if you go to part of the north, like Sokoto, Yobe, and all that, you don't see greens like you see in other parts of the country. I'm talking about the same northern part of the country. So you go to Yobe, the terrain is different than what you see from what you see in Benue, Nasarawa, and these other states in the middle belt. So basically, and with time, all of these things will get down to us here. It's coming already. All of these things will get down to us. So mitigation is what ACReSAL project is focusing on and trying to see how we will not have these extreme cases of drought and all that in the northern part of the country.
Okay, thank you. Yes, in carrying out this project, in trying to mitigate degraded landscapes, there are 4 components of this project that has to be executed. And the first one is the dry land management.
Of course, yes.
Yes. Can you walk us through that? Because it has sub-components also of the dry land management, strategic watershed, landscape investments, and special ecosystems. So can you just walk us through this?
Yes, the component A, like you said, talks about dry land management. How do we intend to manage our dry lands? So far, we have engaged in some projects that are targeted, that have direct target on how we will manage our dry lands. We are talking about gully erosion control. We are talking about reviving our dams. We are talking about afforestation. Of course, you are aware that most of our forests are deforested. We are talking about drought-resistant plants that will have them in our lands. And so, basically, these are some of the things we are trying to do in terms of component A. And then under the component A, which is a sub-component, component A1, we'll talk about the watersheds, right?
Yes.
The watersheds. And this component deals with a lot of things. It's not just about dry land management. As we are targeting to manage the dry lands of this place, we are carrying along the communities, trying to see how we can empower them even as we manage or try to revive their dry lands. So we are doing a whole lot in terms of dry land, a whole lot from afforestation, what is it called?
Reviving of
dams, drought-resistant crops that will revive our lands, and so many things we're doing.
Okay. As you talked about community engagement, how are you engaging these communities so that they will buy into this project, especially this dry land management that we have spoken about? Component 1 and then the strategic watershed.
Okay, so this is what we are doing. I think I want to talk about, now that you've asked about communities, I want to talk about, and maybe I'll be spilling into the component B because they're intertwined. You can't talk about one without the other. So I'll just be talking about them at the same time. Now, in each of the communities, and of course the project ACReSAL is community driven. So we don't just intervene without the communities. We go into the communities on request. When we came on board, one of the things we did was to do needs assessment for the whole of Benue State, the 23 states. We have identified the needs of these communities in Benue State. And then based on these needs, we have requests. And we have approached most of the communities. We have seen that they need some of these things. And we are working closely with them. How do I mean? We get into communities, for instance, in the area of afforestation. We go to the communities, and because they are the direct beneficiaries of these things, we engage them. we bring them on board and work together with them using the CDD approach, the community-driven development approach. Work with them, and then as we have come to, or as we are in their communities, to revive or reclaim or do away with the climate change that is dealing so much with the communities, our communities. We also engage them in everything we do. And we don't just engage them, we engage them actively. We pay them. We form association at that level. We form cooperatives at that level. And they are the ones that does all the job we do. The only thing we do is come in with experts that will train them. So as we are doing all of these things in their communities, we are training them on how to keep these things, how to maintain them, how to take care of them, and then it will also benefit them. So we are doing a whole lot for them, bringing them on board, training them, having to pay them on a monthly basis, and not like you are paying to someone to give to them. You pay directly to their account. We form cooperatives at that level. We pay directly to their accounts, and every month they are earning. And in most of these establishments that do afforestation, we try to introduce some level of farming that will bring money for them, that will make them gain directly from what they are doing. So for instance, we are doing afforestation, doing the indigenous trees, planting the indigenous trees. You find a way of doing maybe mushroom farming, bee farming, and all that. We're training them on all of these things. So basically, these are the things we're doing in that area, and then with them.
Okay. Yes, you talked about forming associations and paying these people. And then it was not a top-to-bottom approach that you engaged in. You engaged from a bottom to top approach, trying to get the needs of these communities. When was this exercise carried out that some communities are not in the know of it? Was it in a public space when this needs assessment was carried out?
Okay, so yes, sometime in 2023, we advertised this, and it's in the newspapers, you will see it. We advertised the engagement of consultants to carry out a survey for the whole Benue State, needs assessment for the whole Benue State. And it was a competitive engagement we did. Contractors came, or consultants came on board, and we selected one that was the most competent. We engaged, and he's done, and he has done this, he's done with it, and then we have the needs of our people, and based on that, we are intervening. As for bottom to top approach, of course, I told you the project ACReSAL is community driven in the sense that we look at the communities, try to see what their challenges are, tackle from bottom top. Now, one of the challenges we have as a state and as a nation as a whole is the fact that you want to come up with a good and laudable project, but because it starts up, you see some level of discrimination. We decided, and it's not just us, the bank and the state, we decided that we were going to engage the communities directly to start with them and go up.
Yes, engage the communities and then go up. And since it's a World Bank sponsored program, what's the funding like? Does the state advance counterpart funds so that it will match up whatever the World Bank makes available? Or what's the funding pattern?
Thank you very much, my brother. And let me appreciate our able governor, His Excellency, Governor Hyacinth Yomamania. He's done so well. His Excellency has provided a counterpart fund of 1 billion for this project, which is why we hear about ACReSAL on a daily basis. Of course, ACReSAL is not so pronounced in Makurdi. I bet you go to local governments, ACReSAL is doing a lot. Communities, ACReSAL is doing a lot. So sometimes I'm in Makurdi and I don't get to hear about ACReSAL. Nobody talks about ACReSAL. I'm wondering why. Go to Konshisha, go to Oju, go to Benue East, everywhere. We have done a lot of investments. And all of this wouldn't have been in place if not for the support we have seen. The support of our governor, His Excellency, Governor Alia. He's done so much. And again, help me. You are the media. You talk to him all the time. Help me appreciate him for supporting the project. It's not just about the counterpart funding. We have these projects in 20 states. I can bet you Benue State is one of the states that is doing very well. Very well. We have meetings. We have meetings. The bank speaks about the states that are doing very well. We have a rating. So, and all of this wouldn't have happened without his support. He's one person that does not want to interfere with projects. So, my appreciation to His Excellency, and again the ministry, the supervising ministries, the Commissioner of Environment, who has been supportive. Of course, the Commissioner of Environment is the chairman steering committee of this project. He's the chairman of the body that drives the project, and then the Commissioner of Agriculture, who is the co-chair for the project. All of them, we've seen so much support from them, and we want to thank them so much for making this happen. It's happening, and I believe it will go a long way.
Yes, 1 billion naira is music to the ears. Yes, and then you talk about projects happening in Konsha, Oju, Gwes, all the local 23 local governments.
Yes, yes.
So just give us a rundown of some of these projects so that our listener can better appreciate and know that yes, it's ACReSAL in conjunction with this 1 billion that His Excellency Reverend Father Dr. Hyacinth Alia has advanced to ACReSAL.
Thank you very much. Let me take us back to where we started again. Like we said, the project has 4 components. Component A talks about dry land management. Component 2 talks about climate resilience and community. And then component C talks about institutional strengthening. Component D is not effective yet. Emergency contingency management is not effective yet, but we're hoping it will be effective someday. In terms of component 1, I've talked about most of the activities we've done. Component B is what I'll be talking about right now, which is the community resilience. Now, this is one component that deals directly with our local people, the community people, those that to an extent we will call helpless. We're trying to see how we can assist these people stand again. And of course, Benue State is an agrarian state. We are all aware. And most of our people are into farming. We're trying to see how we can do it better right now. Of course, we are used to the traditional way of farming. We're trying to see how we'll get into these communities, and we have been in some of the communities already, trying to see how we'll do improved or introduce improved way of farming to all our communities. That's one. Number 2, we are also identifying groups of both women, youth, because the target is women and youth. Youth, women, to see how we can assist them. Either do the farming, process the farm inputs, the farm produce, and then just have a way of engaging all of them to be part of this chain, this agri-value chain. So we have also done a lot in the area of equipment, purchase of equipment, tractors. I believe you are in the news, and sometime last week, His Excellency the Governor of Benue State commissioned about 33 tractors here in Benue for our farmers, community farmers. These tractors are active in all the local governments of Benue State right now, doing farming for the locals. And we have structured these engagements such that it will benefit the common people. What we do is at the local government level, they register cooperatives. If they don't have already, they go into cooperatives, come together, cooperatives of from 15, 20, and then they come, get lands higher. I will do this to them free of charge. Plow free of charge, get them seedlings for planting. This year, one of the things we are doing again is to start irrigation farming, otherwise known as dry season farming. So we've been to some local governments. Before the end of last year, we brought on board all the chairmen of our local governments, the 23 chairmen of our local governments. We engaged them on how we can get to them with what we introduce what ACReSAL is doing to them, and then we also try to engage them to see what their needs are outside of the survey we did in their local governments. We needed to know what exactly they will want for their people. After that, we also brought together all the second-class chiefs in Benue State, spoke with them. So now we're trying to understand exactly how we work with the traditional institution and then the politicians around. See how we can bring all these, their demands, together and intervene for them. As we speak now, we have been in about 9 local governments trying to see how we can do irrigation farming for this year. We have started clearing some sites. We have engaged with the communities, and then very soon we'll hit the field and start clearing and doing the needful for them.
Okay, yes, you talked about community involvement, getting the traditional rulers, the traditional institution involved, and politicians also involved in this process. But you know, projects like this type are most of the times being hijacked and subjected to party loyalty and party patronage. What's ACReSAL under your management doing differently so that this project does not go aground by being hijacked for political patronage?
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, like I said before, we have a government that is interested in development. That is the difference between this government and other governments. We have one governor that does not want to interfere. And if the governor is not willing to interfere in what we are doing for people, who is the politician that want to interfere? He has given us clear directives. Engage with our communities, do things for our communities, and the locals. So I can assure you that the governor does not give room for that. Seriously, I can assure you. So, but again, because they are the heads of these local governments, of course, we need to work with them. For security reasons, we need to bring them on board, and they will have to be part of what we are doing. But to an extent, we try to minimize the level of political interference or whatever it is we're doing. Clear instruction from His Excellency.
Okay, thank you very much. These components are 4, but you had said, I'm sure
I'm still talking about the component 2.
2, yes.
Yeah, component 2. One of the things we put together again is called come up with a laudable program under the project. It's called CRF, Community Revolving Fund. You also, if you can recall,
TRF.
CRF,
Okay,
Community Revolving Fund.
Okay.
Okay, so last year His Excellency distributed checks of about 330 million to 10 communities. 5 from Bandika, 5 Makodi. That was a pilot phase. Now we are in all the local government trying to do the same thing again. The Community Revolving Fund is one activity or one program that is put together by the state and the World Bank to come up with loans that are revolving within communities. These monies are given to communities, and once the money enters the community, it does not come out again. It revolves within the community. That is to say, Party A or Group A collects this money, trades with the money, farms with the money. Once it's done and pays back, is given to Party B or Group B in the same community. So as the money enters the community, it gets revolving within the community and helping all the people, the common people in the community. That is what it does. And this year, we have started engaging with virtually all the local governments to see how we can upskill what we started on the time, last year. So I think we are targeting about 100 communities this time.
For this community?
For the scale up. Yeah, for the
scale up.
Yes, for the scale up. We are targeting
100 communities.
100 communities. 100 communities. And in all the local governments. This time, in all the local governments. We did the pilot phase and it was successful. It was successful. In the presence of the World Bank, they came here and checks were distributed, and they're doing very well. They're doing very well. Of course, if we have some of the interviews we carried with them, or our media team had with them, you will see that they're so excited. So excited. And for some of them that did not have any means of livelihood, they can sit down, buy things for themselves, pay their children's school fees, and are able to assist their husband, especially the women. Doing very well.
So as you provide this revolving fund for these communities and as they engage in agriculture, what about the produce at the end of the day so that they can get additional value for their produce?
Okay.
What is ACReSAL, or is ACReSAL not concerned with after the produce?
Okay, so for Benue State, Benue is a state that is an agrarian state. So one of the things we're trying to do, we carried out, a research, and we discovered that most of the produce we have, most times, perish. We go to places like Boko, Buruku, Taka, Vandikia, part of Vandikia that produces orange and all that. They perish. So one of the things we're trying to do now is we had, in our last meeting, one of the meetings we had recently with the World Bank, we put these things together, and His Excellency gave his approval, that we come up with ways to manage our produce. That's one. And then help the locals also in marketing their produce and selling them such that they will benefit maximally from it. One of the things we are bringing on board right now is to see how we can introduce cottage industries for some of this produce. For instance, where you go to Boko, when it's time for pepper, it's time for tomatoes, they perish within days. The local farmers brings them to the market, and after 2 days they perish. Once they don't sell that day, it becomes a waste. So one of the things we are trying to do now is to come up with climate smart ways of preserving this produce for our farmers. Not just that, we are trying to also source the market for this produce and introduce to the farmers. Now, how are we going to do that? We want to come with the source the market and bring them to Benue State, where we will have the farmers sell at reasonable prices without waste. Once we have some of these things on ground, like the dryers, the factories we talked about, we will just have to maybe find a way of getting this produce from the farmers. Once we assist them, get them, find a way of, the market is already there because we are going to provide the market. It's already there. Once they produce these things, we'll have a way of storing it such that it will not perish after some time. Storing them and then selling them out. But by all means, one of the things we are trying to do is to see that we ensure that this produce does not waste again. So this is on board already. We are trying to do that. The last time His Excellency instructed that we have silos in Benue State. One of the things we're trying to do right now is to see how, working with the Ministry of Agriculture and other relevant bodies, to see how this will be in Benue State. Our warehouses have been revived in all the zones. And once this is done, we'll see how to warehouse some of this produce and preserve them reasonably.
Yes, you talked about providing markets for this produce.
Yeah.
We played host to the General Manager and Chief Executive Officer of Benue Digital Infrastructure Company.
Yeah.
So what's the level of collaboration? Because he also talked about virtual markets being created, so you can sit in any part of the globe and be able to access produce. You talked about oranges here, you talked about tomatoes and pepper.
Yeah.
So is there any collaboration with BDIC so that you can create this virtual market for the farmers, the locals?
Of course, yes. We are collaborating. Just last week we were together, and before last week the governor called all of us together and instructed us on what to do, which is part of what you are saying here now. So we've been given the mandate. There's a committee that has been set up. I am part of it. He is also a member of that committee that is planning. We have not come up with a blueprint. Once that is done, we will show the Benue people what exactly we want to do. Yes, so we are working together as a team to come up with all of this. Of course, we cannot work in isolation of others. So we are working together to see how these things work best for them.
Thank you very much. If you've just joined us, this is On the Line, and we are focusing on activities of ACReSAL and how it has impacted or is impacting Benue communities. We have the coordinator, Mr. Victor Ama, here driving the conversation. It's a live audience phone-in participatory program. You can call us on 070-3826-7479 to ask questions or seek for clarification. And our phone line has been activated now. We are half-marked the program, so you can call us to ask questions, seek for clarification on any issue that might have been raised in the course of this conversation with Mr. Victor Ama. Let's respond to our first caller. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning, sir.
Yeah, good morning. Your name and your location, please.
Okay, my name is Theophilus Abian from Ibango. Where is local government?
Okay, Theophilus Abian
Yeah.
from Gwe East. Yes?
Yes, all right.
Go ahead, Theophilus Abian.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're
I want to first of all appreciate the initiative of the state government on this project. It's a wonderful one, and I want to thank the state government so much, especially our governor, Reverend Father Hyson, earlier. And I want to say that as Benue State is an agrarian state, this project means a lot for the lives of Benue people. So I urge all the stakeholders in this project to go on and look very well for the implementation of this project. They should go to the nooks and corners of our community and make sure that the monies and inputs that have been devoted are used initially, so that at the end of the day, this project will see the light of the day. By so doing, I believe this project will go on and people will continue to appreciate it. If the people that money go to the wrong way, that is how this project will not be the light of the day. So I want to thank them so much, and appreciate our government to continue to do more for the people. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Theophilus Abian from Gwe East. We appreciate your submission. That's appraising your efforts, Mr. Amma. Hello, good morning.
Hello?
Yeah, hello, good morning.
Yeah, good morning. This is Emeka Anyog from North Bank, my body.
Okay, Emeka Anyogo, 60 seconds.
I thank the Director General of this program or the project. It is a wonderful thing, and I've had it very, very well. This thing I want to find, is this a World Bank project? Then, if it is a World Bank project, I want to know if all this our forest that have gone extent, that are no longer there again, that causes a lot of problems these days. You can see the climate change all over, having a lot of things. What are we going to do to replace those places that some people have collected and make it to become their personal properties or their plots? Are they going to be given back as forestry area? And again, if at all we are going, at this time now, we are talking about drought. We will take this time, rain will not come exactly when it's supposed to have come. And the seeds that is needed during this time, which some farmers may not have it. How quickly will the farmers get those seeds that will fight so that at the end of the day, they will not die because of the rain, the lack of rain. Then finally, if it is World Bank loan or World Bank project, will it continue or there is a duration for it to stop or whatever they are going to do or whatever they are doing? They have a time that project will end. If at all they have a time to end, all I'm asking is that let the farmers and every other person judiciously utilize this period of time that the World Bank is going to stop and utilize this very well. Thank you very much. God bless Radio
Thank you very much.
I'm just the project manager. I'm just all Benue people who are going to queue up